So I had a record scratch moment this morning
Oh,
as I'm getting my daily dose of Brian. And you're so I'm talking with Brian Stevens of Mortgage Shots. Um, you send out a video every morning, usually like 3 to 7 minutes long, kind of typically. Sometimes you do great interviews and they're like 15, 20 minutes. But on this morning, you sent off that Rocket Mortgage is suing UWM.
yeah.
I'm not usually one in for gossip, but tell me more. Tell me more. So what's up? What's going on?
Yeah, this one's a God, there's so many different ways you could take this, Carl,
Yeah.
from a loan officer. And I'll just give you the facts of it right now. And
Okay.
then I'll tell you what my thoughts are and I'll
Okay.
tell you what I think really the ramifications for loan officers is.
Okay.
So, Rocket Mortgage, they bought a group last year called Mr. Cooper. And they bought them for, hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars. And Mr. Cooper is really big in the mortgage space. Not a name that a lot of people know, but they have this a massive servicing book, a portfolio of loans that they're servicing. So they bought all these loans. Now you can write a loan, somebody could own the loan, and you could just buy the servicing rights. Servicing is separate from the loan itself. And your servicing is going to pay you a small portion per loan on a monthly basis. So the servicer guarantees that the mortgage coupon is getting sent out in whatever capacity they're doing it, that the money is being gathered in. And when that takes place, the servicer gets to keep a small portion of that loan. So the more loans you service, the more that portfolio is worth. Now, when you refinance a loan, that loan is sold and the servicing rights are gone. So Mr. Cooper isn't funding loans necessarily, but their servicing book is massive. And so we start talking really big numbers. So when they bought Mr. Cooper, I looked at this and said, wow, that's a big portfolio. And they're also buying Mr. Cooper's infrastructure, of course, everything that they do to service. And my estimation is they're not only getting the monthly revenues for Mr. Cooper's servicing, which is significant, but it also gives them the infrastructure to go ahead for all the loans that they're funding so they can hold on to their servicing rights. And really, in a lot of ways, there's more money in servicing than owning these notes.
Yeah.
So somewhere, somewhere in there, um, I don't know how this came down, but Rocket Mortgage had an agreement. Apparently, this is being reported by multiple outlets with United Wholesale that they weren't going to target Mr. Cooper's servicing group. Now, if you know anything about Dan Gilbert and Matt Ishba, who respectively owned Rocket Mortgage and United Wholesale Mortgage, they've had a contentious relationship forever.
Yeah.
Now, it may seem petty to you, and or it may, I don't know how it seems to you, but when you go to the state of Michigan, Rocket is always the big kid on the block. Rocket is everywhere. Rocket's commercials are everywhere. Rocket, is they're naming stadiums after him. And Dan Gilbert of Rocket, he owns downtown Michigan. When I say he owns it, he owns downtown Detroit.
Yeah.
I actually had a conversation with Dan Gilbert one time, or excuse me, I shot a show and I was talking about all the philanthropic stuff he did. I said, maybe this guy's a jerk. I didn't use the word jerk. I said, I don't know. I don't work for him, but he is doing a lot of good things. He thought it was funny that I called him a name and he invited me out there and I spent the day with him and he showed me everything Rocket was doing. And it was impressive. At
Hmm.
that point, United Wholesale was a fledgling a wholesale lender. They weren't massive like they are today. Matt Ishba always had a great focus on the direction he wanted United Wholesale, and he did exactly what he said he was going to do, and you got to give him a lot of credit for that. But there was also a lot of animosity that Ishba had towards Dan Gilbert and how big they were. Matt Ishba is a basketball guy. Dan Gilbert bought the Cleveland Cavaliers, everybody knows about. Not wildly surprising to me that the first thing that United Wholesale did, Matt Ishba did when he got big, was he bought a competing NBA team. Again, I know both the gentlemen pretty well, and that it's not lost on me that that took place immediately. It's Titans fighting against Titans, and what's taking place here with Mr. Cooper is the same type of thing. So certainly, United Wholesale saw that Rocket was increasing their footprint. They buy Mr. Cooper. They get this massive servicing portfolio. They have some type of agreement where they're not going to be competing against each other. And then what happened, lo and behold, there's a complaint filed in the New York Supreme Court their commercial division, and it's Rocket alleging that United Wholesale Mortgage, they're going after the servicing on 182,000 loans with approximately $65 billion in unpaid principal balances that now Rocket owns. Okay, so the allegation is that United Wholesale, wanting to stay the big kid on the block, is having loan officers and having their team reach out to those who are part of the Mr. Cooper servicing portfolio, $65 billion portfolio of 182,000 loans, and they're going and they're targeting them to refinance them. Because when you refinance that loan, you lose the servicing rights to it. So it's not only enriching United Wholesale Mortgage, but it's chopping at the knees of Rocket all in the same breath. So for people who are highly, highly competitive with each other, seems like a pretty good move to me.
Yeah.
But what they're saying is, well, we're not playing by equal rules here. So Rocket is alleging that they analyzed United Wholesale Mortgage's originated loan pools against comparable pools. And this accounts for a whole bunch of factors like how long it's been around, what the coupon rate is, the interest rate on the loan, and found that the prepayment rate with Mr. Cooper and United Wholesale Mortgage was roughly 2.5 times higher than everything else that United Wholesale was doing. So they're saying, we've looked at what you've done. We've looked at the loans. We've looked at how long these loans have been around and been performing, the ones that you're targeting for refinances. And based on everything being the same, you're coming after ours at a rate that's 2.5 times higher than anybody else. Which to me personally, and this is my conjecture, it tells me that, yeah, they're going after them. And again, understanding and trying to give you a little backdrop of the contentious nature between the two biggest lenders in the country by far, playing by
Yeah.
entirely different
Yeah.
rules than everybody else. This is a battle of titans. And of course, this is what is taking place. So Mr. Cooper paid United Wholesale Mortgage, to purchase it. It was a cost of $773 million. Okay. Um, that was the cost of the whole portfolio. So now you have this fight between the two. And it is kind of interesting, isn't it, though, from a loan officer's perspective? Because in this industry, so much we talk about who's calling my clients. Now, I don't have 183,000 past clients, family, and friends. I've got my handful, right? Well, Rocket picked up 183,000 in their database, but to me, it seems like it's basically the same thing. I got my little pie, you got your big pie, but they're still the same clients on the other end of these things.
Yeah.
And one of the things I talked about, and this is my conjecture now, is that for me personally, it's a fool's game for me to ask who is going to be calling my past client database. Now, this is just Brian Stevens. Don't take this offensively if you're watching this right now or listening to this right now. I'm just speaking about myself. I have my database, my past clients, my family, my friends, my loans I've done. I refer to them, and me and Carl came up with this. I refer to my client base, my database, as my best opportunity. So, what am I doing with my best opportunity? Am I ignoring it? Am I cultivating it? Am I procuring opportunities in there? And oftentimes we ignore our best opportunity, our
Yeah.
database. Well, because here's what happens if you like it or not. Let's say I say, Carl, me and you are friends, right?
Yep.
So, damn it, Carl, don't call my database. You promise you won't call my database? You're not going to try it. You can get refis, Carl, but just don't do mine. Are you okay with that, Carl? You're going to say, of course, Brian, I'm not going to call your database. I say, okay, good. We're good. But here's the problem with that. You might not call my database, but every loan officer sitting to the left and the right of you should be calling my database.
Yeah.
And there's nothing I can do about that. So when rates go down, not even when they go down, I mean, rates go up and there's still, a third of the loans being done are refinances. So rates go up and rates go down, right? And my thing, you might need to pull cash out of your house for a venture that you're doing or to improve your property. Or clients I have right now who've gotten over the tips of their skis with their revolving debt and they need a debt consolidation refinance to push out over 30 years. And hopefully they learn better the second time around refinance. The rate's going to go up.
Mhm.
So we don't know the reasons. But we know the numbers. We know that at least a third of loans, even in the worst of markets, is still going to be refinances. When every loan
Yeah,
officer says they don't happen, they
yeah.
happen, and they
They're still
happen a
happening.
ton.
Yeah, yeah,
So the only way that I can really I can stop you from calling my database because we're friends, but I can't stop everybody else.
yeah.
And so I can spend my time trying to convince people to leave my girlfriend alone, or I can just, love on my girlfriend, right? That's
That's
all I can do.
that's literally the exact example I was thinking in my head. Is that I don't have to worry about you calling my, this is our single days, of course, but I don't have to worry about you
Sure.
calling my girlfriend. Well, I just want to make that distinction. So I don't have to worry about you calling my girlfriend because I'm already doing it. I don't have to worry about you saying nice things to my wife because I'm saying nice things to my wife. I'm taking her to dinner. I'm buying her flowers and chocolates and pampering her and whatnot. It's only when I don't do that that somebody else doing it becomes a problem. You know what I'm saying?
I let me give you one more visual here.
Tell me.
Well, now let me take it one step further. It's like squeezing sand. The harder you squeeze, the more you lose, right? You get a fistful of sand, you start
Mm,
squeezing on it. The harder you squeeze, the more you lose. So let's say I spend my time squeezing my proverbial sand. Let's use the analogy of the girlfriend. I'm going to ignore my wife. I'm going to ignore my wife. I'm going to ignore my girlfriend. And any guy who thinks of looking at her, I'm going to spend all my time saying, don't you look at her. 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 And eventually she's not going to need an overture. She's just
mm,
going to say, I don't want to be with this guy who's constantly telling everyone else not to look at you. Now, when it comes to loans, if you ignore your database, which was my analogy exactly, if I ignore it
mm,
and I'm spending all of my time, my energy, and my resources telling everyone else to stop, and I'm ignoring my database, I'm ignoring my wife, I'm ignoring my girlfriend, it's just a matter of time before they say, you know what, Brian, I don't even need the overture. I'm going to go find someplace else. And the reason is because your database, they're going to want to refinance. They're going to want to purchase another house. And if you or your competition doesn't go to them, if they just get ignored by everybody, you're wildly effective at doing it. They will seek out that refinance. They will seek out that purchase. The only foolproof way to keep your database and the only effective way is to spend your time cultivating and curating your database. Now,
yeah,
when we look at the whole United Wholesale Mr. Cooper thing, it strikes me as the same thing. Bigger numbers, but math is math, right? We can apply math to what is across the street or what's, 10 light years away. It's the same math. It's the same algorithms. And it's the same thing with these databases. So now we're taking each other to court in these battle of titans. And it's kind of funny to me that they're fighting about the same stuff that we're fighting about down here as these little tiny guys. They're
mm,
not calling their database and we're not calling ours.
mm.
It's the same type of thing, but they're dealing with hundreds of millions and billions of dollars. But I personally think that I'm dealing with something that is equally as important, and that is the success of my family. And then that to me is worth billions and millions. I had the same at stake for them. It's just much more personal.
Hey there. Hey, if you're loving the tips so far, be sure to hit that subscribe button right down there and then tap the little bell so that you never miss out on more free, cool tips coming your way. Also, I would love to hear from you. Drop a comment beneath there. Let me know what you think or tell me what you'd like to hear next.
I saw a thing, and I'm sure I'm gonna have these numbers right, and I might even have the verbiage not right. Uh, but it was something like the servicers used to recapture about 16% of their own loans during refi times. And I think it was Mr. Cooper that said they expect to work theirs up to 70%. In other words, 84% of the time when I'm calling to refinance my database, I'm getting it versus the servicer getting only 16% of them of doing the refis. And they expected that number to go up to 70%. So the vast majority of the refis were to happen at the servicing level, not the loan officer level. And I thought, boy, and that was like those numbers. I saw that report. Owen showed that to me. He showed me that I think about 2 years ago, something like that. And I think with these servicing companies, which was the second part of your message, the gloves are off. And you know what? Hell, if I owned a servicing company, I'd say, wait a minute, I'm already servicing a loan. Why should I? You're trying to take that servicing away from me, Carl White Mortgage or Brian Stephen Mortgage, right? And so, hell, I don't blame them for doing that, but I guess the name of the game is make sure you send in flowers to your girlfriend, your husband, your wife, like whoever that is. Figuratively speaking, in this mortgage business, you got to be marketing to you got to be calling, you got to be talking to uh, your past database. It's a
You
it's a
do.
it's a huge part of our income.
You do. And I want to point something out for your audience, and I want to make this
I
very
mean,
clear. When we're talking about what took place with Rocket and United, Rocket bought the servicing book. They bought it from United Wholesale Mortgage. And in that servicing right, in the purchase, the acquisition of it, they said that they would not target the loans that Rocket was purchasing. United Wholesale said, "Yeah, we'll sell it to you. We're going to take these millions and millions of dollars, but we're not going to target these people." In the case of Rocket versus Wholesale, it appears based on the numbers that United Wholesale was in fact targeting it.
yeah,
And Rocket does allege in there that on weekly calls, Matt Ishbo was even going so far as to encourage his brokers to call and do refinances on Mr. Cooper's book of business, which gives it kind of an insidious nature. But it doesn't change the point.
yeah.
It doesn't change the point because when I'm looking at my database or when I'm looking at my database and I've got 10 loan officers out there, in this small town USA, right? People have opinions of other people. They just do. They might not share them, but they do.
Hmm.
And some people might take a little bit more satisfaction out of going after my database than somebody else's. It could be,
Hmm.
in any community
Yeah,
that could take
I get
place.
it. I get it. Hmm.
But the point is this: no matter what it is, whoever's going after your database, just understand they're going after your database.
Yeah.
And without your love and affection to your database, no matter what happens, no matter what, you're dead in the water with it. And I think your numbers at 17%, I think frankly, I think it sounds high. But yeah, I mean, we're not getting a lot of that follow-up repeat business.
Hmm. That reminds me of a story. Early in my career, I was working on marketing to my database and trying to figure out different things. And Diane and I, my partner over at the mortgage company, Diane and I ran a test. And what we did was we grabbed we grabbed 300 random addresses in the neighborhood that I lived in I got from the title company, and they were owner occupied. If I remember right, that's all I knew, owner occupied, and they were in my neighborhood, which was a normal at the time. It was and still today, I guess, it was a normal neighborhood, right? So, what I mean, a normal price range, like good old
Sure.
bread and butter neighborhood. And I got these 300, and I put them in my campaign as if they were my past database because I wanted to compare strangers to my closed loans past database, sending out the exact same mailer. And I started cultivating their phone numbers I'd mail them out. Hey, we're giving away $30 gas gift certificate. Just email me free gas for me to enter. Well, now I got their email address. Text me free gas for me next month. Now I get their phone number. And so I did that ongoing back at the end of a year. So in my own past database, I was closing one per 100 per month. So if I had 300 people in my past database, I'm closing 3 loans a month. On this group of strangers at the end of one year, Brian, it was producing the exact same numbers. The
That's
exact same numbers. It was freaky. It kind of hurt my feelings at first 'cause I thought, well, gosh, I thought my past database loved me, right? It's like my ego says that. Well, come to find out, they didn't love me any more than strangers did. It wasn't me, it was the marketing. And I went to Diane, we were sitting there and I go, how is this performing so well? She said, I tell you exactly why. I said, why is that? She said, they think you are their past loan officer because their past loan officer isn't doing anything. And I wasn't trying to trick anybody because that's never been the way I do things, right? But I thought that's exactly what it is. These people think I'm their that I did their loan last time, and it's performing just as well as my past database that I did do their loans. Point being, market to your past database. I mean, there's just big money in that. But anyway, I thought it was just fascinating this lawsuit. It's nice to know that even at the highest levels, there's this schoolyard graveling going on. And so
I know.
sometimes I see it, and just being honest, Brian, sometimes I feel it my own self. Like somebody will, poke me in the chest, figuratively speaking, and I'll fluff my gills up and I'll show this, and then I think, all right, Carl, shut up. Life's pretty good. And it's nice to know that these mega dogs, guys and gals, have the same character flaw that I do from time to time. And it just made me feel a little bit better, quite
Yeah.
frankly. I don't know if
It
that's
is.
good or bad, but it did.
It's voyeuristic. It's kind of what we do, and it is. It just goes to show you. We can change the zeros on our accounts, but we all have the same fundamental core things that affect and bug us. And yeah, there's things that get under my skin too.
Yeah.
Then when you feel that something is personal,
Yeah.
and throw bigger money at it and makes more headlines, it becomes voyeuristically. I think, and with all the means of hearing about this, it becomes its own soap. Who needs a soap opera anymore? You
Yeah.
know, we don't
Just
need
watch
them.
life. Yeah. Just
Just
watch
watch
life.
live.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good stuff. All right, Brian. Hey, just real quick, tell everybody what you send me every morning. Tell them what you do. I think everybody knows you, but just in case they don't, somebody might be new.
Yeah, we're gonna switch up how we're doing it a little bit, but I send a video out every day, and just kind of telling you what is important in the mortgage and real estate industry, with a focus on mortgage stuff, because I'm an originator, with my own sphere of influence as well. So it's going to have a mortgage slant to it, but it's great for real estate agents. I try to keep it to 5 minutes. Sometimes it bleeds over to can 10 to 12 minutes, just depending on the topic. Give you what's going on, editorialize it a little bit, let you know what I think is important about it, and really kind of see the tea leaves and the direction things are going and how you can adjust your sales accordingly for your personal business. And the truth of the matter is, it's interesting that we run across a lot of things that other people don't. So we're not just regurgitating what you're hearing out there. One of the things we found, and I talked to you about this, is these partial claim deeds of trust and the fact that we're seeing foreclosures go up. It's not the fact that they're going up, it's why and how they're going up.
Hmm.
And on my show, we've been talking about this for 6 months. The Wall Street Journal just did an article on this last week. Well, we've been on this for 6 months, and frankly, ours is still more in depth than the Wall Street Journal and all of their
Hmm.
unlimited resources. But most importantly for loan officers and for real estate agents is we let you know what you can do with this information. If we can find these deeds of trust on folks, the partial claim deeds of trust before a notice of default is filed and it becomes public record, we can give a real estate agent a captive audience with that person who is going to have to sell their house before the hordes come and that
Hmm.
notice of default is filed and it's a public record. It's a strategy we're using based on information that even the top of the mainstream media hasn't caught up on for 6 months. And we're
Hmm.
6 months ahead of the game on this. So things like
Yeah.
that are what we work on.
I've been a subscriber of your, which is free, but I've been a subscriber to your video newsletter. That's kind of what I think of it in my own mind. It's a video newsletter. Uh, Gosh, 20 years?
Yeah.
Like a long, long, long time. And I'm not just saying this, brother. I bet you in 20 years, I could count on my fingers and toes how many episodes I've missed in 20 years.
I
Like
appreciate that.
like
It's
literally.
Thank you.
And yeah, I love it. It because you focus on things that sometimes it's things that I would normally focus on, and oftentimes you focus on things that I normally wouldn't. But it's just good to know, and I love how you always put a perspective of it. Like you didn't just say, "Hey, by the way, Rocket's suing UWM." You said the take home message is make sure you're marketing your database because of this and that tie-in. So I love what you do, man. I've
Thank you.
just been a huge fan for years and years and years, years.
Thank
And
you.
so, what's the best site for them to subscribe to this?
Pretty easy. Just go to mortgageshots.com, mortgageshots, shots.com. Subscribe. We'll send it to you daily. We don't sell your information off. Believe it or not, that's important. We're not going to spam you. We're not, so you're going to get your show. You're going to get it from us and the occasional webinar or Zoom or something like that we do, which is very infrequently. But when we do those things with certain strategies, we'll share
Yeah.
that with you as well. Again, we're just here to support loan officers in their business and by extension, support their real estate agents.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
over the past 20 years, Carl, the only thing we've seen from each other is we've watched each other's hairlines recede a little bit.
I know you know where mine goes. And we're doing this on video, so those of you watching on YouTube will see this. But I got this little, they call it a widow's peak for whatever
Oh yeah.
reason. And yeah, and mine's from going, okay, you want to close when? And and so that's where I say mine gone to. But it has,
I always say God's got a sense of humor. He's the older I get, he's taking hair off my head and he's putting it on my back. Can
yeah.
we just the other way around?
Yeah, well, it's been a good journey, and looking forward to continued journey, brother. I appreciate you, my man.
Thank you, Carl. I appreciate you too. Talk to you soon.